I'm Niara, and tonight's story begins with a sound no one could explain. Come a little closer. There's an old rule among people who spend their lives deep in the backcountry. If you're sitting beside a campfire at night and you hear something just beyond the tree line, don't go looking for it. Stay by the fire. Most people assume that rule is about bears or coyotes or getting lost in the dark, but the old-timers know better. They know about the whittler. About 10 years ago, two friends, Marcus and David, set out on a backpacking trip through a remote stretch of the Appalachian Mountains. It was late October, and once the sun disappeared, the cold settled into the woods like a heavy blanket. They found a small clearing surrounded by towering pines, pitched their tent, and built a fire. By 10 o'clock that night, the forest had gone unnaturally quiet. No wind, no insects, no owls. Just the steady crackle of burning wood. David was halfway through telling a story when Marcus suddenly held up his hand. Listen. At first, nothing. Then, scritch. A pause. Scritch. Another pause. Scritch. It sounded like someone slowly dragging a knife across dry pine, shaving off thin curls of wood. David forced a laugh. It's probably branches rubbing together. Marcus never took his eyes off the darkness. There isn't any wind. The scraping continued, slow, patient, almost deliberate. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Marcus finally called into the darkness. Hey, who's out there? The sound stopped immediately. The silence that followed felt heavier than the noise itself. Several long seconds passed, then a voice answered. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It sounded dry, almost brittle, like paper rubbing against paper. I'm almost finished. A heartbeat later. Thud. Something landed in the dirt just outside the firelight. David grabbed his flashlight and aimed it toward the edge of camp. Lying in the leaves was a piece of carved pine, about a foot long. At first, it looked random, until he realized it was a hand. Every finger had been carefully carved, and every one of them pointed directly toward their tent. David stood up immediately. We're leaving. Marcus grabbed his arm. No. David stared at him. In the dark, we're blind, Marcus whispered. By the fire. We have a perimeter. So they stayed, back to back, flashlights ready, watching every inch beyond the flames. 20 minutes later, the scraping returned. Only this time, it came from somewhere else, to their left. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Then behind them, scritch, scritch, scritch. Then to their right. It kept circling the campsite, never entering the firelight, never showing itself. Every time the scraping stopped, another carving landed just outside the glow. Another hand, then another, then another. By 3 a.m, 6 wooden hands surrounded their camp, each one carved with long, jagged fingernails, each one pointing inward, toward the fire, toward them. Neither man spoke again. They simply waited for daylight, just before sunrise. The scraping started one final time. This time, it was close, far too close, barely 5 feet away. Right behind the tree Marcus was leaning against. The sound lasted almost a full minute. Then, silence. Marcus couldn't take it anymore. He spun around and blasted the tree with his flashlight. Nothing. No person, no animal, no footprints, only a flat rock. Resting on top of it, a freshly carved piece of pine, white wood still exposed beneath the bark. Tiny curls of shaved wood scattered around it, as though whoever carved it had left only seconds earlier. David slowly picked it up. It wasn't another hand. It was a face. A deeply carved wooden face with hollow eye sockets, and a smile stretched far wider than any human should be able to make. Then David noticed the hair. 2 perfectly carved braids. His hand started shaking. He looked up at Marcus. Marcus hadn't said a word, because Marcus wore his hair in 2 long braids. The carving wasn't random. It wasn't a warning. It was a portrait. The two men packed their camp in less than 30 seconds and ran for the trail without looking back. They left every carving behind. Marcus refuses to camp anywhere without a large fire now. But every once in a while, late at night, when his house is completely silent, he says he hears something coming from the hallway outside his bedroom. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Until next time, I'll see you by the fire.